now we're at the time where the Hamashiach is getting ready to come.
And hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I am the Lord.
Last words, brother.
Shalom, ma.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. All right, Shabbat shalom, Yasharel. Shabbat shalom.
Oh, that's right, man. Shabbat shalom, Israel. Shabbat shalom.
Pray that everybody is having a blessed Shabbat. Pray that everybody is well rested. So we got a really good topic that we're going to be dealing with. Out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth sweetness. Now we're going to get into some things. It's going to be a few things that's going to agitate you a little bit, but you know how we do it. You know, we're going to always bring out this truth backed up with the scriptures. So with that being said, go ahead and get our scripture reading. Brother Ott, go ahead and get that for us.
All right. Today's scripture, as you always know, we usually do the Shabbat reading, but today we're going to change it up, right? We're going to do it based on the topic of the lesson. Proverbs chapter 31, verse 3, it says, "Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings." Right, brother?
So you're going to see where that sets the foundation for this lesson. But before we get into it, you know, let's give a kind of a basic synopsis here so we can kind of understand what's really going on historically. Now, you all know that if you read the book of Joshua, right? If you read the book of Joshua, I'm going to bring out something in Judges here in a minute. But if you read the book of Joshua, and, you know, if you study these scriptures, you know that the Most High commanded our people before they went into the promised land to drive out they were supposed to drive out all the Philistines, not just some of them, but all of them. All right, I'm going to show you in Judges kind of how this whole thing spawned this kind of like proxy war amongst the Israelites and the Philistines. So let's go to Judges chapter 3. And I'm just going to read the first 4 verses. All right. It says, "Now these are the nations which the Lord left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel had not known all the wars of Canaan." All right, so what nations are they talking about, as the scripture is talking about, that was left? So let's continue. It says, "Only that the generations of the children of Israel might know, to teach them war, at the least such as before knew nothing thereof. Namely, 5 lords of the Philistines, and all the Canaanites, and the Sidonians, and the Hivites that dwelt in the Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal-Haram unto the entering in of Hamath. And they were to prove Israel by them, to know whether they would hearken unto the commandments of the Lord, which he commanded their fathers by the hand of Moses." All right. And they were supposed to drive out everybody, you know, but because they didn't, they disobeyed the Most High. All right, Most High says, "Okay, I'm going to use these nations to test you. You know, right. We're gonna test you and see what you're really about." And we're talking about decades of just going through this and everything. So you can only imagine the reason why the Most High told them to drive them out. Because if they would have completely driven them out, they wouldn't have killed them. They wouldn't have had this issue. All right. So this is going to be, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, this is going to be leading up. Yeah, if you got something to bring it out. This is going to be leading up to what we're going to be talking about in this lesson. Go ahead and bring it out. All
right, it's going to go to, matter of fact, why you got it up there, man? Can you go to Numbers 33:52?
Absolutely. Let's do it. You said Numbers what chapter?
I think it's 33. It's either
Numbers 33. And verse 52.
Right. Yep. There it is right there. Right. So if you go to that's the initial command right there. If you go up there when 51 to 52, it says, "Speaking to the children of Israel and said, and then when you pass over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, which are where all of those nations had dwelt in, right? The Philistines and all of those the Perizzites and all the guys that we saw from before, the nations. It says, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, destroy all their pictures, destroy all their molten images, and pluck down all of their high places, and ye shall dispossess the inhabitants of the land and dwell therein, for I have given you the land to possess it.
You sure it didn't say some places? You sure it didn't say some inhabitants?
Con, drive out all the inhabitants. We were supposed to share the Holy Land with them, right? Israel today is a lot smaller than what you would what we had back in those days. Go ahead, Doc.
Yep. No, that's true. And this is one of the ones was going to bring out. But this tells you right here that they were supposed to drive out all of them, not just some of them. And that's why we read in Judges 3, you saw the ones that was left. And those are the ones they didn't drive out. And those will be the same ones that's going to come back and give them hell. It's the same thing with when Saul was commanded through Samuel to kill young and old, to kill that nation. What did Saul do? He didn't kill all of them. He spared some of them. Right. Maybe he thought those were the good old boys or something. But, they would literally come back later, hundreds of years later, and enslave them. So,
after the death of Joshua.
When the Most High tells us to do a command, he means it. He means there's a reason why the Most High tells us not to mingle with our enemies. There's a reason why if the Most High tells us to kill our enemies, you can't just spare. You can't just spare some of the good ones thinking that they're going to be some good servants. If he says kill, you better kill. But we've made that mistake too many times.
After the death of the prophet Joshua, man, they rose up again. They became strong again.
Yeah.
And they ended up taking us for captivity, right? We ended up becoming captives under the Philistines. But it's just amazing how, if you don't listen to the Most High and you don't listen to the commandments, and stuff comes to bite you later, and the Lord will let it happen to you too, right? It's he'll let it happen to you.
And this is how things kind of get out of whack. And this is why when we look at fast forward today, this is why you can have roles opposite directions. Now, the men carried the masculinity. Now the women are carrying the masculinity as they think so. But it just tells you that we've gotten away from the Holy Torah, and we're still not even close. Even though a lot of our people are claiming to be woke, we still don't practice the ways of the Torah, because if we truly did, then the men would be in a position where they would be men, and the women would be in a position where they would be humble themselves as women, as becometh as in Titus 2:12.
Well, the basis of the lesson, before we get into the scriptures, right, that we notice that today, and this lesson is mainly for the brothers, right? Of course, sisters, man, you can be, we don't mind if you tune in. Maybe you can learn something from it. But, it's for the brothers because for some reason, right, the heathen, they have decided to push feminism on all fronts, right? The leadership of women, which is exactly opposite of what the Torah says. And we see that they try to manipulate you, especially from a child, and they try to instill you with feminine ways in order to take away your strength as a man, right? They don't want you to use your natural strength as a man, right? They want you to use everything but that, right? They want you to use they don't want you to use your manly strength, right? This is what separates the genders, right? They don't want you to use, they don't want you to mansplain, right? They don't want you to do any of these things, right? They want you to, be in your feminine, right? And this is not how the world is built, right? When you go into the jungle, right, and just on the basic animal plane of mammals and animals of all the creations of God, we see that the lion in the jungle, like the female lions don't try to take over don't try to take over the post, right? I know you can maybe come up with maybe one out of 100 times where you see, a bunch of the female pride attack the male lion. Maybe he's he's been attacking them and doing some crazy stuff. But as a natural thing, it's just everything follows a natural order except for mankind for some reason. So what we're going to show in the scriptures is how Samson, he gave up his strength as a man, right? And we're going to show you many scriptures that tell you not to do this. And this is how he was conquered, right? He not only lost the strength of the Most High, but he only lost his physical strength as well, right? Which is both is tied together. You want to get anything? Matter of fact, I wanted to show something, right? Right. This will be an example of how they would try to feminize the men, right? This is how they would want to feminize the men, right? And then they want to complain later on and saying that, these are the guys right here, right? These are the men that they're wanting to date, right? But this is how the women are raising them, right? And see, this is the issue, Israel, right? You don't want to give away your power as a man, period. You're stronger for a reason. Now, right? Now that's wicked as hell. Ain't no little boy should be dancing like that. Right? That mother has purposely taken away their power as a man. Has purposely taken away that little boy's power as a man. Now they think it's cool. Go ahead, brother.
Man, the scripture is totally is clear on that. And it's a shame that we've gotten to a point now where we see the total reversal of the law. Even back in Samson's days, I'm sure they had issues. I'm sure there was conflicts because, they were under sort of the captivity of the Philistines while they were, getting tortured and all that stuff. They were Philistines was giving them hell, but they were still judging at the time. And so you're going to see what happens to a man when he gives his strength to a woman. And I say that not lightly because when we look at today's society, what have we become as men? How did we get to a point where we've allowed feminism to take a foothold?
That's right.
Women could go around all day and say that it was them who led the cause, but it wasn't. Because they don't have the power. No woman on earth has the power to overpower a man. Even when Samson back then, even Delilah never had the power to control or overpower Samson. You have to be able to allow that stuff to happen. So over the years, man allowed this behavior to succumb to itself and to manifest. And this is why you see a great wide of strong feminism that is just people thinking that, we're in control of things now. Well, who gave you that power? How did you get to that point? You didn't gain that power yourself. Somebody had to give it to you. Think about that for a minute. Who gives women their power today? Who builds the roads and the highways? Who does these mass contracts and build these huge skyscrapers? It ain't women. So you mean to tell me that women have the power to control the narrative? I don't think so. Not even close. You're only in that situation because man at some point has allowed this feminism to take a foothold. Because I can tell you right now, if you look back in history, the heathens, man, they were beating their women to death, dragging them by their hair in caves. You didn't have no say so.
A lot of men are jokey nowadays too, right? You don't really take things serious. In the scriptures, it tells you not to joke around with your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're supposed to have a serious front. Right? You're not supposed to play games with your daughter because she thinks that everything's funny. That's just the way that they are. The scriptures speak about this. And if you want, I'll give the scripture in a minute. I'll pull it up when I give it back to Brother Daniel. But the reason why I say that is because today, right, this the utmost seriousness of the matter. Everybody, if you're a man and you're carrying yourself where a woman feels that she can lash out and hit you, right, or she can speak down to you, right, you're not doing yourself proper. You're not acting right. If a woman feels that at any moment that she can raise a hand to you or do anything like that, man, you're not you're not being a holy man, right? You're not obeying the laws, statutes, and commandments, and you're not running your life correctly, right? Because she's not supposed to have that. She's supposed to be fearful to the point that she wouldn't want to raise a hand or try to abuse you for as that is concerned. Like if she gets mad or whatever, hey man, she better suck it up in silence or whatever it may be, but never to be able to raise a hand towards you. That right there says a lot, right? As how you're handling yourself as a man. And because you see little boys like this twerking, right, that we just shown, and a lot of other effeminate behaviors, right, women can identify with this. And this is why they choose to put hands on someone, right? Men, you should not be, right, we should not have come into a situation where now men are not to be feared, right? You look at your you look at your dad and you feel that, you know, you can do whatever you want, man. You can wear skimpy outfits as a girl or this, that, and the third. And I want you brothers to understand, this is really a message to you as a brother, right? On how you're supposed to conduct yourself as a man, right? If you have a daughter, but she shouldn't be feeling that she could be able to wear skimpy stuff or do any of this foolishness and folly, because society has seemed to want to strip away your manhood. The fear of God should be in her for her to want to do something like that, right? And that is something good because that will protect her in the future. We all know what it is, right? Especially the brothers. If you see girls out there and they dress half dressed or whatever the case may be, you're not going to take them serious, right? Brothers out there in the street, they they say it's just my it's not my girl, it's just my turn, right? You don't want to be labeled as that, right? You don't want to be labeled as that today, right? Because the masculinity has been stripped away from men and your ability to tell women what is right and what's wrong. Society has gone down into the drain. Just think about this. If you tell a woman that she is not wearing the things that she's supposed to be wearing, hey, man, cover up, man. You're supposed to, hey, you're not supposed to have that on. But hey, man, cover up. They're not afraid of you anymore. They'll think, hey, man, what are you thinking? Blah, blah, blah. They got all this back talk, this, that, and the third. This is not the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to allow this stuff to happen. And this stuff first starts in the home. If you're a father, man, it doesn't matter. Whatever it takes to, you shouldn't be doing whatever it takes to get along with your daughter. If you're not in a home and you're dealing with a single parent situation, it don't matter about that, right? You need to stay 10 toes down no matter what, because it just might save your daughter in the future. Don't let her out here be a harlot, right? Wearing short dresses, short skirts, and you know, the heathen hair. Nobody's gonna really take her serious, right? You got a bunch of harlots and whores out here nowadays, right? That think they're, you know, worthy of marriage or worthy of a man, and all of this, you know, what they want. Oh, you know, I want this, I want that, I want 50 grand, I want you to this, I want an allowance, I want this and that. When in the world did we start listening to whores and harlots? Right? You know, women that get that particular treatment, right? They understand what it is to be a man, right? Those are the ones that save themselves. Those are the ones that have sexual discipline. Those are the ones that are virgins. They understand that they don't want to give themselves over to a man, right? This is what we need to look for as men, right? And we're going to deal with how you become, how Samson, right? Samson became a simp. Gave away the power of the Most High. All for what?
Over some coochie.
Right, it's ridiculous. Hey, you want to play that one video, right? Because this was this was a lot of you sisters are following too, right? The heathen women, right? The heathen woman. And I'm gonna show you, right? That's a you know, yeah. I'll wait to pull that up in a minute.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do, there's a clip that I sent Brother Ock a couple days ago, and I said we can use this one. So I want you to watch towards the end how she begins to humble herself. And when you watch that, you'll see how Samson was kind of duped, but at first she comes out to be this hardcore masculine woman. Now, these are a bunch of heathens and stuff, but, you know, chew the meat, spit out the bones. I'm going to bring it up right quick.
Yourself.
I see. All
right, so can y'all hear that? Can you hear that up?
God.
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and play all of it through.
I say go yourself.
I see. Okay, good. That's good. I'm glad to see the feminine is fully developed in you.
I'm about 99% masculine.
99%. Wait a second. Move over. We'll move over. I just want to see this. I just want to get a closer look. "99% masculine." Look at the state right now.
Hey, press pause. Press pause real quick.
No.
No.
Now that is the delusion washed over right there, right? You see how that heathen went up and approached that woman, standing towering over her. Any kind of idea that she thought that she was going to be in control of the situation washed over, because he's not playing no games. This is the way you should treat your daughters.
Yeah. He got in her. Notice that he got in her space.
Right. All you men out.
He's within. He is more than 6 feet within. He's like what, 3 feet apart. And then look how she kind of just all of a sudden now she kind of, all that masculinity is gone now. Because remember, she said that she's 99% masculine.
Right. One other thing I wanted to make sure, right? In the scriptures, it never says to start giving your daughter everything and, doing this and doing that. No, you're not supposed to do that. In the scriptures, every daughter of every man that's holy, right? She is trained to be a wife. She is not trained to be a doctor or a lawyer or go up and do some or go up and do any foolishness, right? She is trained to be a wife, trained how to serve. That's what you're supposed to be doing as a father. As a father, you're not supposed to be trying I want my daughter to be strong. I want her to be able to do something on her own. No, man. You're adding to the problem, brother. Of course you want her to be smart.
And she was preserved to be a virgin. She was preserved to be a virgin. That's the one thing that you got to understand. When our forefathers were bringing up their daughters, they preserved them as virgin. That's why it was custom to marry the first daughter off first, so that they would be able to have babies, so she wouldn't be too old, by the time she married. But we don't do that now. And again, that's just a result of not having men in the home. I want to finish the rest of this video.
Oh, this is the 1% that shows up every now and then?
Yes.
I see. It shows up when a masculine energy shows up. Then she goes back feminine. But she surrounds herself with men that are more feminine and calls herself masculine. Because you actually do become masculine around them.
I mean, I've learned in the seminar I need to be more feminine, but it's just a difficult thing to do.
Is it?
I mean, I feel like
I just walked up to you and you changed states somehow, and it wasn't attraction. It's not hard. It's that you keep surrounding yourself with people you think you can control. And the fastest way you control them is you tear them down. Now, you don't always do it verbally and directly because that's a little dangerous. So you do that in your own head. And you demonstrated 4 or 5 times in the first 3 sentences that you spoke about your boss and everybody else, did she not? You emasculated all of them as fast as you could, because there's 2 ways to be significant.
So he says something very key. He says you do it. You don't tear them down verbally. What would happen to a woman if you get a woman that's trying to tear a man down verbally? She'll probably get smacked or something, or get kicked in the rear end. But they do it in a way. They do it in a way where it's emotional, so they could try to work on your emotions.
One is work your ass off and grow and take risks and go through the injustice of life that we all go through. Or the other is tear everybody else down and have the illusion if they're going down, you're moving up. Have you ever been with a woman?
I'm really attracted to men. The problem is I turn them like tires.
You turn them like tires.
Yeah. So they rotate right in and out.
Yeah, I understand. What kind of men do you tend to rotate truthfully?
So it's been half and half. So I would say definitely go for sometimes the feminine side, but more recently it's been the very masculine type.
And how would you rotate a masculine? I'd just love to hear this. If they were truly masculine.
Usually in the bedroom.
And your idea of rotating him in the bedroom would be?
I'm very feminine.
Oh, you become very feminine?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the bedroom, you become very feminine. And then how does that rotate him?
I just don't keep them.
You don't keep them?
Yeah. So I don't let them get close enough.
Perhaps you're confused and they leave your house and are very happy that you rotate them because they want to get away the minute you become the masculine.
I thought that was a really good one. But the point of this whole video was to show you all that they talk, and this whole masculinity thing is an idea in their minds that they get from social media, they get from others, to project themselves as this thing of I should be respected. But like the guy said, it's not hard because they were born with that natural and femininity, but they try to rise above that, and that's what gets them in trouble. That's why so many women today, especially those who are falling off to social media, think that, hey, it's okay because they're not being checked. Everything is going unbalanced. And before Brother Aton brings out Samson, I want to say this on a sure note. You could be assured that a lot of these women that do that know exactly what they're doing. All right. This is why they would never approach a masculine man. They'll consider today's masculine man as toxic. What's that word they like to use? It's a word that they use for men hating women or something like that.
Male chauvinistic.
It's something like that.
Chauvinism or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but they always claim that fascism or something. That.
Oh,
men,
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about hold up.
That men hate women, and so you're using all this hate.
Misandrist. A misandrist.
Yeah, misogynist.
Yeah.
Misogynist.
Oh, misogynist. Yeah. Misogynist.
Yeah.
That's it, right? That's it. Misandrist is the other way.
Yeah. They always want to say a misogynist. That's supposed to be where men hate women, but they use that term because they want to break you down mentally. They want to break you down, break your masculine down, and make you feel like less than a man because you practicing your God-given genetic abilities, and that's to be a man. You were born with that. The only way that they could be stripped away is through years and years of masculation. Just like that first video that Brother Aton showed with them boys. I'm pretty sure that them boys grew up. I'm pretty sure they've been around older men who knew better, but being around that woman for so many years, it takes a toll on you. So it's been slowly stripped, and we see that today. It's being slowly stripped from our younger generation today, and it's only going to get worse.
I don't know, for the rest of everywhere else in the world, all throughout, no matter where we're at, we see that the strongest usually survives, or the strongest are the leaders. That's just the way it is, right? The lion, right? The strongest lion. Well, the lion is the head of the female, right? The male lions, right? Whatever you get, the male monkeys, whatever the case may be, right? The strongest survive. That's just, the strongest usually are the leaders, no matter what. The wolves, no matter where you go at, right? Even if you get, let's say, for example, if you got a car, the strongest car is the leader of the pack. The strongest motorcycle is the leader. Well, no matter what it is, it don't have to have all the fancy buttons, all the fancy technology, but if you have a beast of a motor and you're the strongest, you end up being the leader. That's just the way it works. All of a sudden, though, when we get to the human race, it's different than everything else in the world. Now we're equal. Everybody has a role. No, we all can do the same thing. But in order for that to happen, the men have to be forced under a delusion that we're equal, that your power or your strength does not matter as a man. We must correct this as men. You can't, it's not about, going along to get along or pleasing the next man or pleasing any women. You have to stand firm. You got to stand on your own too. It doesn't matter about what they think, right? Because if she's for you, right, the Most High will send a woman for you, and there's nothing you can do as long as you're keeping the commandments. The woman will be there for you. Mm-hmm. That's just how it is, right? You just have to have faith. But if you're some weak noodle back spine type of dude, the only thing you're doing is helping the future grow dismal amongst our people, helping your daughter to become a whore and a harlot in the future. Giving your daughter everything she wants and, going every, no, man, that's not how you do it. You got to raise your daughter to be a wife, not an independent woman. A lot of the fathers, man, that's what they're doing out here and they don't even realize it. They're pushing their daughters off to college, right? They're pushing their daughters off to here, they're pushing off the daughters to there. Sure, they can be smart, right? They can be learned, they can be wise. They can have knowledge, but that knowledge is supposed to be for them to raise up the children. That's it. You don't want a smart woman wasting all those years working for the white man or working for anybody else. Want to be a doctor or a lawyer or some other folly in this land of captivity that doesn't have anything that amounts to a hill of beans at the end of the road. Let's talk about this big simp Samson.
Bring it out.
Okay. Do this kind of. All right. Let me see. All right. It says, and Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now, therefore, get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman amongst the daughter of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest take a wife for the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleases me well. I don't know, that's kind of funny because never mind. I don't know if anything was going on back in the day with the sisters, but man,
yeah, it makes you think though. It makes you think though. Why would she? Well, of all the women that he could have chose from his own nation, what would possess him to go outside of his nation? That's what gets me. That's what makes me think that. Well, what was going on with our women? I mean, were they rebellious? Were they rebellious at the time? I mean, it's really nothing to show for that, but it makes you think, come on now. Really, Samson? You got all these women, all your women of your own people, but you rather choose a woman outside your race. Well, I guess if you look at today, fast forward today, you'll see some, not all black men, but some black men will choose to go outside their race. And the one thing that they always say is the reason why they go out for as race, because they don't like drama. And just for some reason, black women have been known to be associated with drama. And a lot of black men don't want that. I'm not saying that's not the case for heathens as well, but you gotta really think, why would Samson, especially back in those days, why would Samson, of all the beautiful black women he could have chose from in his own nation, why a heathen?
Yeah, and that one time, I think he got 3 separate heathen women. He never dealt with an Israelite woman. He won with that.
Why was that? And he was the acting judge for 20 years. So come on, you elected by the Most High, and you don't want your own women.
And then the Lord pushed him on the Philistine women, and we'll talk about
that makes me question what was going on with the Israelite women back then. Were they like the Israelite women of today? I don't know.
I hope not.
Yeah, something's going on.
As we see what was going on with Samson, right? Ezra chapter 4 says, Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. That's a lot of brothers out here, man. Right? Every time you want to, you're not treating your daughter like you're supposed to. Keeping her in straight. All brothers that want to be a simp for these other women that's out here. You don't want to keep the commandments. You start just going off and start doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing, trying to impress somebody that you shouldn't be dealing with in the first place. Man, there's just a lot of stuff out here, right? The scriptures say, I'm gonna read the 30 and then matter of fact, I'm gonna read the 31 and then you take over from there, right? And then read the 35. All right, and then it says, and now do ye believe, and now do you not believe me? Is there not a great king in his power? Do not all regions fear to touch him? Yet I see him and Epene, which is a woman, the king's concubine, the daughter of the admirer Bardicus, sitting at the right hand of the king. This is a damn gum concubine of somebody else sitting at the right hand of a king, right? And brothers, and this is important because you have to really watch. If you're not focused, if you're not steadfast in the mind, you can be easily conquered, right? by a woman. I wanted to say something. Okay. And taking down and taking the crown from the king's head and set it upon her own head, she also struck the king with her left hand. And yet, for all this, the king gaped and gazed upon her with open mouth. If she laughed upon him, he laughed also. But if she took any displeasure at him, the king was fain to flatter, and she might be reconciled to him again. Right? Hey, man, this is a simp. The king himself, he thinks that this is a king, right? He basically is bowing down to a concubine, right? He's simping, doing everything that doing everything she wants. Man, she don't have zero respect for him, and that's one of the king things that men require in life is respect. Man, she'd have took the crown off the king's head and slapped the king with her left hand and laughed. And the king didn't do nothing. That's the sentence under death right there. Go ahead, Salakia.
Yeah.
Let me bring this up to 31.
All right.
I'm at 32. Salakia.
32.
Yeah, Carl.
It says, "O ye men." Oh, does it go to 37?
Mm-hmm.
It says,
Now go to 35.
Men. Okay. It says, "O ye men, how can it be but women should be strong, seeing they do thus?" Then the king and the princes looked one upon another. So he began to speak of the truth. "O ye men, are not women strong? Great is the earth, high as the heavens, swift is the sun in the course, for he compassionate the heavens and round about, and fetcheth his course again to his own place in one day. Is he not great that maketh these things? Therefore great is the truth, and stronger than all these things."
Right. So basically, it's just telling you 100% that if you don't watch yourself, a woman can take advantage of you, man.
Yep.
They're strong. All right, where was you? Okay, boom. I was in verse 4, right? So we're gonna get back to Samson, right? And we see that, it says, "Then he came up to his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistine. Now go therefore and get her for me to wife. Then the father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all thy people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?" Or Philistines, however you want to pronounce it. All right. And Samson said unto his father, "Get her for me, for she pleaseth for she pleases me well." That's a joke. Oh, you tripping. Right. It says it says but his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord that he sought an occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Then went Samson down and his father and his mother to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid. And he had nothing in his hand, but he had told not his father or his mother what he had done. Rent means tear apart. Okay, so he tore apart the lion. And he went down and he talked with the woman. I'm gonna read 10 verses out, and then I'll let you take over.
Yep.
And he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. Right, talking about the Philistine woman in Timnath. And after a time, he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion, and behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took thereof of the lion and went on eating, and came to his father and mother and gave them. Salakia. And they did eat. And he told them, and he told them not that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do. Right. So he got married.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead up. Take over 11.
All right. No, go back down to 10 because you read 9.
No, I read 10.
You read 10. Okay. Sorry about 11. All right. And it came to pass when they saw him that they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If you can certainly declare it me within the 7 days of the feast, and find it out, then will I give you 30 sheets and 30 changes of garments. But if you cannot declare it me, then shall ye give me 30 sheets and 30 changes of garments. He's about to break them, boy. And they said unto him, put forth thy riddle, that we may hear. And he said unto them, out of the eater came forth meat, and out of the strong came forth weakness. This is where we got the title from. And they should not in 3 days expound the riddle. Let's scroll it up a little bit up to 15. See, Samson is playing with them because he already knows that they're not going to be able to answer it. And it came to pass on the 7th day that they said unto Samson's wife, entice thy husband, Samson's wife. So he's married to a heathen. Samson's wife, entice thy husband, that he may declare unto the riddle, lest we burn thee and thy father's house with fire. Have ye called us to take that we have? Is it not so? Now this is, you understand, it's the Philistines. He's talking to Samson. He's like, hey, your wife is part of our people. So, he'll listen to you, entice him, that they're using her. And Samson's wife wept before him and said, here's the part right here. It says, and Samson's wife wept before him. How do you think a woman gets to a man? Start crying, right? Start weeping, showing their emotions.
We know what happens when a white woman cries.
Yeah, I know.
Your black has to be put to death.
And
all right, man, that's real.
And Samson's wife wept before him and said, thou dost but hate me, and I lovest not, and lovest not me. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and hast not told it me. And he said unto her, behold, I have not told it my father nor my mother, and shall I tell it to thee? Because he's like, man, I ain't told this to my mother or father. Woman, what makes you think I'm gonna tell you? And she wept before him the 7 days.
Come on, man. How many days?
7 days.
Come on, man. She wept the whole week, man. Cried on that nigga a whole week.
And she wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted. And it came to pass on the 7th day that he told her, because she lay sore upon him, and she told the riddle to the children of her people. And the men of the city said unto him, and the men of the city said unto him on the 7th day before the sun went down, what is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said unto them, if ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle. Scroll up there to 19.
Yeah, that's it.
So right he knew. So notice he called his wife a heifer and a plow, because to him that was a tool. That was somebody, a possession.
Man,
because he says right here, if ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle. Because who was the person they was trying to entice? His wife. Verse 19. And the spirit. Hey, scroll it up a little more, just to 19 and 20. I'm going to finish off 19 and 20. Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's it. It's only 20 verses.
Okay. It says, and the spirit of the Lord came unto him, and he went down to Ashkelon and slew 30 men of them. You hear that? Slew 30 men. This is one man, Samson, and slew 30 men of them, and took their spoil, and gave change of garments unto them, which expounded the riddle. And his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. But Samson's wife was given to his companion, who had used as his friend. That's crazy. So he still gave them because they got the riddle, but because they tricked his wife, she was the one that gave it away. But he knew it all along. That's why he killed them.
Samson went down there and killed 30 of them.
That's why he went down there and killed them boys.
Man.
Yeah, y'all messed around and made my heathen woman give up the answer, and she wept all over me for 7 days until I gave up the answer. Man, that's a true simp right there, man. You just dang.
It says, but it came to pass within a while after, in the time of the wheat harvest, that Samson visited his wife with a kid, and he said, I will go in to my wife in the chamber, but her father would not suffer him to go in. So he brought a goat, right, for an offering for the father, but the father's like, nah, man, you ain't going into your wife. right? And it says, and her father said, I verily thought that thou hast utterly hated her. Therefore, I have gave her to thy companions. Is not her youngest sister fairer than she? Take her, I pray thee, instead of her. Man, now I want y'all to understand too, right? Remember when we first started reading, we understood that that the Most High he had a beef against the Philistines. So it's not like this stuff is just happening out of the blue. Right, the Lord is causing this stuff to happen in order to cause Samson to get mad to kill up the Philistines. Right, I want y'all to pay attention. This is why it's very important, right, for you to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, because you don't want the Lord to start paying attention to you, right, putting you under these tests. And Samson, Salakia, right, and the father said, I pray. Salakia, verse 3. And Samson said concerning them, now shall I be more blameless than the Philistines, though I do them a displeasure. And Samson went and called 300 foxes and took firebrands. Man, this man caught 300 foxes. Just to catch one would probably be hard. This man caught 300. Right? Caught 300 foxes and took firebrands and turned tail to tail and put a firebrand in the midst between the two tails. And when he had set the brands on fire, he let them go in the standing corn of the Philistines. It burnt up both the shocks and the standing corn with the vineyards and the olives. Man, so he burnt them down to the ground, all the way down, to the ground, to the roots, right? The stalks and everything, right? 300 foxes he was able to set there on tail. Man, that's Samson's a beast, right?
That's crazy.
Then the Philistines said, who hath done this? And they answered, Samson, the son-in-law of the Timnite, because thou hast taken his wife and given her to his companion. And the Philistines came up and burnt her and her father with fire. Right. So remember now, that was the very first, right? That was the very first threat that they gave her. They was like, man, if you snitch, if you don't snitch and tell us what your husband said, we're gonna burn you and your husband. You said we're gonna burn you and your father with fire. Man, she should have just, she ended up getting put to death anyway. Right. Wow, right? Man, don't man, Lord, don't play, man. Don't and that also goes to show you as a woman, don't go against your husband.
That's right.
Right? Don't go against your husband, or the Lord got a judgment for you. This woman right here, she went and she turned against the husband, and the Lord burnt her and her father with fire. And Samson said to them, though ye have done this, I will be avenged of you, and after that I will cease. Then he smote them hip and thigh with a great slaughter, and he went down and dwelt on the top of the rock of Edom. Then the Philistines went up and pitched in Judah and spread themselves in Leah. And then the men of Judah said, why have you come up against us? And they answered, to bind Samson, we are come up to do him as he has done to us. All right, go ahead, take over. I'll get the next 10.
All right. Yep. All right. Then 3,000 men of Judah went to the top of the rock of Etam, and said to Samson, knowest thou not that the Philistines are ruler over us? What is this that thou hast done unto us? And he said unto them, as they did unto me, so have I done unto them. And they said unto him, we are come down to bind thee, that we may deliver thee into the hand of the Philistines. And Samson said unto them, swear unto me that ye will not fall upon me yourselves. All right. So he's telling them, don't fall upon me. Says, yep. And it says, and they spoke unto him, saying, no, but we will bind thee first and deliver thee into their hand, but surely we will not kill thee. And they bound him with 2 new cords and brought him up from the rock. All right. That's crazy, man, because this is Judah.
Yeah, Judah brought him up.
About to bring him up, but hey, it's all planned out because the Most High is going to do something. Hey, go back up for a minute. I want to bring out something. I saw something. Go back up to. Okay, no, go back.
How far you want? Yeah. All right, you good?
No, that's fine. No, I'm good. Back up to 14. Yeah. Now I was going to bring out something, but I'll bring it out after this one. It says, and when he came unto Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and the cords that were upon his arms became as flax. You know what that is? It's like having your arms tied with just a string of wax that was burned with fire, and his bands loosed from off his hands. And he found a newly jawbone of an ass, and put forth his hand and took it, and slew 1,000 men therewith. Now this almost seems unbelievable, man.
Yeah, man. He just put forth his hand.
He took one jawbone of an ass. That must have been a huge ass. That must have been a huge ass. A jawbone of an ass.
That's kind of big, though. That would be like a scimitar.
But it's bone, though, man. But think about it. And it took.
Yeah, jawbone of a donkey is kind of large, though. You know what I mean? That would be like a little small, like little curved knife. That's enough.
But he slew 1,000 men with it. You would think that thing would have broken in half. So you know the power of the Most High was on that jawbone. So there's no way. There's no way a regular jawbone of a donkey is going to withstand that kind of pressure after 1,000 blows.
Yeah, man. It's probably more than 1,000 blows, man. It's probably way more than 1,000 blows. It's probably looking like something out of an anime. 1,000 men
and slew 1,000 men therewith. I mean, hey, I mean, look, man. I'm just imagining that in my head right now, man. With a jawbone of an ass, you it's probably what 3 blows, 4 or 5 blows per kill. Just imagine how long. Imagine how long. Now, this didn't. I don't think that just happened in 1 hour. You know, come on, you don't kill 1,000 men with a jawbone in 1 hour, and this probably lasted for a while. It says, and it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking, that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand and called that place Ramathehi. And he was. And
wait. So he killed 1,000 of them. Then probably was like standing on top of the mound of bodies and speaking to the rest of them. Hey man, you better. Hey, that's a wrap. Hey, anybody else want to die? And then got done with his speech and then threw the jawbone away. Man,
you know Samson. You know Samson had that legendary power of the Most High. Man, there's no way a regular human can do that. Man, he had some divine power on him doing that, and he was sore athirst and called on the Lord and said, Thou hast given this great deliverance into the hand of thy servant, and now shall I die for thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised. Go ahead and scroll that up to 19 and 20.
No. That's the last one. It's only 20 verses.
Oh, the last one? Okay. It says, but God cleaved an hollow place that was in the jaw, and there came water thereout. Man. So he done killed 1,000 men with a jawbone. Now he about to drink from a jawbone. It says, but God cleaved an hollow place and was in the jaw, and there came water thereout, and water he had drank. His spirit came again and revived. Wherefore he called the name thereof in that's not right. In Hekor? In Hekor?
I don't know. In Hekor, yeah.
In Hekor, yeah. Which is in Lehi unto this day. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. Man, that's crazy. You know, man, that's why I wish, man, he wouldn't have fell into that trap, you know, because think about it, man. If Samson would have been faithful to the Most High from the time that he was called to his death, honestly, we probably wouldn't be in this situation today. Honestly, things would probably be a lot different. We might have fell off a little later or something. I don't know, but you know,
man. And then Samson started Judge 16, right? And when Samson then went Samson to Gaza, right, and saw there an harlot, so he's dealing with another heathen woman, and went in unto her, and it was told that the Gazites saying, Samson has come hither, and they compassed him in and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, in the morning when it is day we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight and took the doors of the gate of the city and the 2 posts and went away with them, bar and all. And he had put them upon his shoulders and carried them up to the top of an hill that is before Hebron. And it came to pass afterwards, he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah, right? Another heathen woman. Dang, right? And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and said unto her, entice him and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we may give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. Now, I wanted to bring this out too, because brothers, nowadays, right, marriage is a scam. Right? I know y'all heard about that football player. You know, he was about to marry some woman, and she didn't want to sign the prenup. So she decided to call up. So he had to call off the wedding. A lot of what you got going on nowadays, brothers, is this exact same thing, right? Just because you have to be sure these days, brothers, right? You have to make sure that she got everything, right? You got to read that Proverbs 31. You got to get that thing memorized, right? If not, you could be dealing with, you know, all these harlots and whores that's not really interested in you, right? They interested in you for 1,100 pieces of silver, right? Yeah, Con, thanks, Pops. Dak Prescott, right? Or they could be interested in you. She was only letting him have sex with her and all this other stuff because guess what? She thought that she was about to get the bag. That's a prostitute, right? Women that try to, you know, have sex for money or because of what you got or whatever that, yeah, hey man, those are prostitutes. These women are not virgins, right? They're already come to you in a not virgin state, right? So you brothers got to watch out. This is old as the scriptures. For 1,100 pieces of silver, Delilah was laying with Samson damn near every night trying to get that secret out of him. Right? Today, the woman will lay with you for 11 pieces of silver just so she can go ahead and take you behind to divorce court and try to get half of everything she didn't earn.
Mm-hmm.
You have to stay focused so you don't get your power taken away from you, brothers. Right? Matter of fact, let me get before I go to I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one thing. Let me get let me get Sirach. I think it's just off the top of my head. I think it's 9. Right, boom, right. Sirach, right. A book of Ecclesiasticus. What does it say right here? Give not thy soul unto a woman to set her foot upon thy substance. Right. Dak Prescott, it was the same thing that was happening. He was smart enough to understand that she was trying to set her foot upon his substance. Right. It says, meet not with an harlot, lest now fall into her snares. A lot of these women that these brothers are getting with, they harlots. Right. The scriptures say in verse 6, give not thy soul unto harlots, that thou lose not thine inheritance. How many brothers that we see that are rich, right? They have given their souls unto harlots. They want to divorce later on, and they think that just because they didn't give him some, had sexual access for 10 years, that they deserve half of what he got. No, man. Once you leave, that's a wrap. The reason why you get the benefits in the first place is because she's there with that man that used his mind to build those resources. She wasn't getting with him before when he was broke.
Facts.
The house was already built. The castle was already reared up. Everything was already there. She just moved in. You don't get to get half of anything. This society is set to try to break you men. And if you don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments, you're going to fall by the wayside. The scriptures say, turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman and not look upon another's beauty. For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman, for herewith love is kindled as a fire, which is exactly what we're talking about when we're dealing with my boy Samson here. All right, it's exactly what we're talking about with dealing with Samson. Samson already he dropped in Gaza dealing with these harlots. Strange, he came up. Oh man, now I'm in love with the Philistine. Man, this nigga's a simp. Salaki, this brother's a simp. Right, 30 pieces of silver. Now we read all of those scriptures, man. These scriptures was already there. It was written. He should know better than to give a woman his substance so she can set her foot upon it. Verse 6, and Delilah said unto Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightiest be bound to afflict thee. Now, this is a two-part that people don't really understand. Right? She doesn't understand. I mean, a lot of people that read these, that read this stuff doesn't understand by Samson making this decision. What he's truly doing is releasing his strength to the Lord. He wasn't supposed to tell this heathen woman anything, especially about the Nazarite, the Nazarite tradition, all the ways of Israel, and any of that stuff. But she's not supposed to know about that. And Samson said unto her, if thou bind me with 7 green whips that were never dried, then shall I be weak and be as another man. Then the Lord of the Philistines brought up to her 7 green whips which had not been dried, and she bound him with them. Now there were men laying in wait, abiding with her in the chamber. And she said unto him, the Philistines be upon us, Samson. And he brake the whips as a thread of a toad breaking when it touched the fire. So his strength was not known. And Delilah said unto Samson, behold, thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Now tell me, I pray thee, wherewith thou mightiest be bound. Now, what he should have done is slayed her right there. Right, he should have slayed her right there on the spot. As soon as he saw when those men had come in and they had all of a sudden had tied her up with the same thing that she had told him before, dealing with the stuff that he's dealt with in the past, man, he should have cut that woman down right there, especially because she was a Philistine. The Most High had one of them dead in the first place. But because he was a simp,
man, Samson could have been, you know what? Samson could have did what the Israelites failed to do, was drive those folks out in the beginning. And maybe that was why the Most High called Samson, was to finish the work that his forefathers failed to do. Man.
Yeah, that's on you. You're on 11.
Yep. All right. So, and just thinking about that too, you're right, man. He should have just killed her right on the spot though. But we're gonna see. We'll see how this continues to go though. Verse 11. And he said unto her, if they bind me fast with new ropes that never were occupied, then shall I be weak and be as another man. Delilah therefore took new ropes and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were liars in wait abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from off his arms like a thread. It was like threads being on his wrist. And Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto thou hast mocked me and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be found. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks of my head with the web, man, that made him stronger. And she fastened it with the pin and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awaked out of his sleep and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web. And took the whole doggone foundation with him. And he said, go ahead, scroll. Is that it?
No.
Okay, go ahead and scroll to 15.
Oh, my bad. I got you. Boom. All right.
All right. It says, and he said unto him, how canst thou say, I love thee, when thine heart is not with me? and thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. And
Time
it come
out,
to
man.
pass.
Time out. It says, hey, right, you see how the manipulation, hey, brothers, I want you to pay attention to the story.
Yep.
How canst thou say I love thee? Women say this a lot. To try to get information out of you that they should not have.
Yep.
This is a classic manipulation technique. Clearly, she does not love him. This is like the second or third time that she done tried to get the man killed and try to take away his great strength against the enemy that he's been slaying. He done slayed 1,000. Now, I mean, he done slayed about a good 2,000 of these suckers already. Right? Whatever Delilah is doing is, she must be some kind of special succubus, because this man is a super simp. A super simp 5,000, because I've never seen, like, this is crazy. But a lot of brothers, right, they do this. They got these crazy, they got these crazy women that they deal with. They know good and well you shouldn't be dealing with them. All kinds of red flags is going on, right? And you still dealing with them. This is the epitome of Mr. Red Flag, of Mrs. Red Flag. Not only is she out to get money from the man, because this is why she's doing it, but she also trying to get get her man set up. Go ahead. It's crazy, man. That's just crazy.
He says, how can thou say I love thee when thy heart is not with me? I'm like, woman, you don't try to get me killed 3 times already. Wasn't hearing that. And it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words. You see that, with her words, and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death. You see, this is how men get. This is how they get us. They just moan and cry to the point where you just feel like, damn, I want her to stop. Man, you just go ahead and tell her.
You know what?
Then he told her,
men, don't. A woman can't force you to do anything because they don't have the strength and power to do it.
They don't.
Right? So you have to understand that this is the only way that you can ever become tricked by a woman, is that you have to succumb to her words, the same way that Adam did. Right? Yep. Adam was the leader in the beginning. He had the strength, right? He was the man. He was supposed to be the leader. Right? You're not supposed to put away your manliness, put away your masculinity and your manhood in order to succumb to something that's weaker than you. That's not how it's supposed to work. In the very beginning, that was essentially really the first sin. Adam succumbing to something that was weaker than him. Obey God. God put him in a position to be a leader. And you know what he said? I don't want this. I don't want this position. Let's let the woman start making decisions. All throughout nature, all of a sudden, do you see the male lion? Do you see the female lion all of a sudden start making the decisions and tell the male lion, hey man, get your lazy ass up and you go hunt while we lay in the bushes. That's not how it goes, right? They get him out there when it's a situation where they can't handle, right? Like it is today. That's how it's supposed to be, right? The men are supposed to be saved for the big dog, for the big task, right? But for the little task and the helper, and the helper role, that is what the woman is supposed to be, is the helper role. Men, you forgiven, you gave up your strength. How is it possible for she to press her daily with words and get the strength of a man that can slay 1,000 Philistines, stand on top of the mountain body?
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying earlier. How do we ever get to a point where we as men have allowed feminism to take control, to take a strong foothold? Because they don't have the power to do that.
Facts.
They cannot say that it was us who led the forefront of feminism. No, you didn't lead anything. The only reason why you got that is because some man decided that it was okay for you to be in a leadership position. If the tides turned right now, if all of a sudden men in power just decided that, you know what, we're going back to the old ways, it can happen overnight. And there's nothing that a woman can do about it.
Not a damn thing.
Verse 17, that he told her all his heart and said unto her, there hath not come a razor upon mine head, For I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. Man, Samson must have been drunk off his mind, man.
What was going on, man? This
was
is
something, man. He done smoked a bushel of greens or something.
Man, I don't think I'll do it like that. He must. That's crack, man. That's a fentanyl.
Something.
That's fentanyl. That's
no
way.
He must have been on some drugs or something, man. That was strong, trying to deal with her. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, Come up this once, for he hath showed me all his heart. Then the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and brought money in their hand.
I'm about to scroll up.
And
Hold up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's
19 and 20. Yeah,
yeah,
then
go
you'll
ahead.
take over. Then you'll take
Con.
21. Then you'll take 21. It says, and she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head, and she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And she said, it's crazy. It says, and she caused him to shave off his head of his locks, and she began to afflict him. So what the hell she was doing to him, and his strength went from him. Now remember, mind you, now this is the same one that lied and said, after all I've loved thee, and she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as the other times before and shake myself. And he was not, that the Lord was departed from him.
That's crazy, man. You can't even, that man, hey, that's how you, like, it feel his normal strength, right? He couldn't even tell his normal strength was, his superhuman strength was gone from him. Man, that's how you know that, hey, the Lord put that spirit on you, man. You can't even hardly, man, it must have felt like normal strength for him to shake himself. It must have been like fleas. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, that's crazy. It says, verse 21. Man, Israel, man, Israel, man, you can't be a simp, Israel, man. This is ridiculous, right? Man, hold up, man. You know what? Before I finish this out, I'm gonna go to. Let me get.
Bring it up.
Yeah, man. Let me go back to Sirach, because Sirach got a ton of good stuff in there for dealing with this stuff.
Yeah.
Brothers being simps, right? What does the scripture say? It says, "Wine and women make men of understanding fall away." Right, and we see that today. Wine and women, brothers drinking in the club, dealing with women all the time, or any of this other stuff, make men of understanding fall away. So you could be a wise brother, man, but if you like the club or none of that, that's a wrap for you, right, man? You go ahead, man. You just drink yourself in the hole. It says, "And he that cleaveth to harlots will become impudent." Then he that cleaveth to harlots will become impudent. Moths and worms shall have him to heritage, and a bold man shall be taken away. Hey, man. Man, the scriptures don't play any games at all, right? Let's go Sirach 25. Let's go over a few scriptures. I think that's got something to do with looking at fine women, if I'm not mistaken. Oops. What's that thing? 21, I think. Come on, right? Scripture says, "Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure." I know that sounds crazy, right? To a lot of brothers. Oh man, yeah, man. Don't be a simp just because she's fine as hell. That don't, that you're not supposed to be stumbling over that woman and having your jaw to the ground and you figuring that you're gonna do whatever. Oh, well, I'm gonna drink her bath water. Some old, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Hey, man, the scriptures try to tell, hey, man, remain composed, brother. Right? Remain composed. I don't want you out here simping out. Let's go back to the let me see. Do I have any? I think I got one more. Slock it, Israel. Like that off the top of my head. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, forgive me. God, right? Last one, 42. It says, behold, not everybody's beauty, right? And sit not in the midst of women, right? What's that mean? It says, behold, not everybody's beauty, and sit not in the midst of women. That's you, hey. That's you, brothers with that wandering eye. Yo, hey, your neck working so fast every time you're walking, you're just looking around, you're looking at all the girls. Hey, calm down, relax, thirsty ass, right? Relax. It says, behold, not everybody's beauty, and sit not in the midst of women. Don't be a pookie, right? One of them brothers with the perm in your hair, you want to sit in the midst of women and just yappity yap. Not whoremonger. Whoremonger is a man that whores himself out, right? Whoremonger is a man that whores himself out. It means that he's a homosexual. That's not the same thing, right? Far from garments cometh a moth, and from women what? Wickedness. All right, brothers. Better is the churliness of a man than a courteous woman. A woman, I say, which bringeth shame and reproach, right? Because it's talking about, sometimes they'll trick you, just like we saw Samson that got tricked for that 1,100 pieces of silver, or whatever, the 1,200 pieces of silver.
Yep.
So simple behind, simple as hell. All right, what was we at? All right, Slakia, right? So we said that he was not, and the Lord was departed from him. Right. So we saw he got tricked by the harlot. Right. Like a lot of you brothers be getting tricked today by harlots, right? Tricked up out your substance, right? Tricked up out your seed to give to give these women babies when you're not married, give child support, do all kinds of stuff, you know what I'm saying? Then they be raising up your children and then have your sons twerking, like we saw in that video earlier, right? You brothers gotta stay, y'all gotta be circumspect. Don't have them tricking out of nothing. All right. As a matter of fact, I think the scriptures even say something about but I think we read that earlier about your soul. Right. It says, but the Philistines took him and put out his eyes. That's what happens if you become a simp, right? Most High, get them jabbed out your eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with fetters of brass, put him in prison. Right, brought him down to Gaza. Remember, man, he was just in Gaza causing a ruckus, killing everybody. And he did grind in the prison house. Right, so he got him one of those big grind mills, where you push the thing and you're just, going around in circles. You know what I mean? And he was blind. Howbeit the hair of his head began to grow again after he was shaven. Right. Remember, you're in prison. You don't have access to women. You can't be a simp when you're in the prison. Right. In those times, you're going to sit in the quietness of the prison by yourself, locked away, and then you're going to think of how you betrayed the Most High for some low down Philistine woman. Then the lords of the Philistine gathered them together to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon, their God, which is no God, and to rejoice, for they said, our God had delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands, that did not happen. Samson failed to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, and told that heathen woman the secret of his strength, and forsaken our God. And the Lord said, you go in prison, and I'm gonna pluck your eyes out, and I'm gonna make a fool of you. I guarantee you he had repented by then. Verse 24. And when the people saw him, they praised their God, which is no God. For they said, our God hath delivered into our hands our enemy and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And this is one man, right? Man, they should know their God was not that powerful if one man had slew that many people. And it came to pass when their hearts were merry, and they said, call for Samson, that he may make us sport. And they called for Samson out of the prison of the house. Now, hey, I want y'all to remember, this is after Samson had judged Israel for 20 years. So he's old. He old now, right? He old. He probably saw some, the young Philistine woman, she had to be young. Some young enticing woman came up to him, his old behind. He thought, oh yeah. Yeah, let me be a simp. Yeah. Hey man, that's wild, man. Hey man, old Samson. Never mind. Right. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld Samson and made sport. Right. So I guess
you know what it means. You know what it means to make sport, right? They were making fun of him. They were putting him out, making him a showcase, laughing at him. Where's your God now?
And the funny thing about it is they were on something that would be known as like a mezzanine today, right? Up on a platform on a roof, right? And they making fun of Samson when he's down there by the pillars, right? By the pillars that are upholding this roof. Right. This is, hey man, they were partying back then too, because that's pretty awesome. Right. They was partying out there and they was doing all this stuff, and they was on top of the roof and making sport of Samson. And now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport. And Samson called out to the Lord and said, O Lord God, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me. I pray thee only this once, O God, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes. And Samson took hold of the 2 pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was bore up. I'm sorry to laugh about that. This is ridiculous. And it says, with one with the right hand and the other with his left. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might. And the house fell upon the lords and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death was more than they which he slew in his life. Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zohar and Esautal. Remember now, doing this place is where the tribe of Dan was dwelling. In the burying place of Manoah his father, and he judged Israel 20 years. And that was the last that's the last scripture.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine. Hey, I want to bring out something right quick too. And I want to wait till you got done finishing verse 31. Let me bring this out right quick, because this right here shows you that no matter what, you can never trust your enemies. All right. This ought to be a very familiar scripture. This is Ecclesiasticus, the book of Sirach. Let's look at this right quick. Start with verse 10. It says, never trust your enemy, for like as iron rust, so is his wickedness. So what happened in a sense when he was with Delilah, even with both bras that he was with, they was trying to deceive him, trying to get him to succumb to the enemy. It says, though he humbles himself and goes crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and you shall be unto him as if you had wiped a looking glass, and you shall know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by you, lest when he has overthrown you, he stands up in your place. Neither let him sit at your right hand, lest he seeks to take your seat, and you at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. See, this was the prime example of Samson right here. Everything that I'm reading you right here, Samson did the opposite. He says, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent? Who was the serpent? It was the lion and other brood that he was with, or any such as come nigh wild beast. So one that goes to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? For a while he will abide with you, but if you begin to fall, he will not tarry. Because that Delilah, remember what she said? Why you hold back after all I've loved thee, and you still not gonna tell me? Well, she didn't love him in the first place. She was trying to seduce him from the very get-go. An enemy speaks sweetly with his lips, but in his heart, he imagines how to throw you into a pit. He will weep with his eyes But if he finds opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. What was the only way that Delilah could get through Samson? He had to submit to her. He had to submit to the will of a woman. And that, fast forward today, how did these women get, I'm not going to say powerful, because they're not powerful at all. They've never have been powerful. But they have been given authority, but only by men they have been given authority. That's why you see women in leadership positions. I'm gonna tell you something. Prior to Vietnam, you didn't see women in the military at all. Did y'all know that? If you do a deep dive study and research, women were not in the military. The only thing that women served as were nurses. I forgot what they were called, but they were nurses helping wounded soldiers. That was it. But there was never no women. There were no commander women. There were no women in commander. Now you got women generals.
Folly.
What's that? I know it's all folly. And, they don't make good decisions. A woman commander does not make it. I'm telling you, it makes a terrible commander, because for one, they run off their emotions. Commander is required to think strategically. He is required to use all his mental capabilities. Women are not built like that. A woman will get stressed if she tries to use her mental capabilities, because she's just not built for that. She can't do it. It's going to come to a time where she's going to break. She's going to get old quicker, because women were not built for that kind of stuff. So, and this is why we have a weak army. Like, you look at all the other armies in the world. Now, I don't think Iran, I know for sure Iran don't got women in their army. Russian don't got women in their army. Now, I think Chinese do, but I think their purpose is a little different though. But
that's just Joe. They don't really fight.
Yeah, they don't fight. But if you look at majority of the army of the world, they don't have women in their military. You're not going to find one woman fighting in the army of Israel in the scriptures.
Like y'all, like naturally, women are supposed to be the bringers forth of life, right? After the man impregnates you with that life seed, you're supposed to mature it, right? Mature your whole makeup, the way that a woman is built, her whole genetic makeup is for life. It's not to kill. It's not to be a ruler. It's not to do any of these other things. The Most High, he knew what he was doing when he created woman. Right? You have a specific task and a specific function, and your body is built for that function.
Yep.
Right? The parts that women have are specifically for children. That's it. It's specifically for children. That's it. So if you do that, and then we have women that said they don't want to have children, they go against their natural role. That is the natural role. Women, they want to avoid it and say, well, I wasn't born to become. Yes, you were born to have children. That's the reason why you are here. Mm-hmm. Unless by some, strange situation where you have some kind of genetic defect or something like that. But if not, right, and that's a small, super small percentage. But if not, still though, right, their body is built supposed to have children. That's it. You're not built to become a lawyer. You're not built to become a brick mason or any of these other things that they have out here in the world, right? You're not built to become a doctor. You're not built to be that. Nope. The Most High built you to become a mother. That's it. A mother and a wife. That's why your body is built that way. Right? If the Lord had decided that it would be somewhere, something else, then you guys would be stronger than men. You guys would come up with all the inventions. You guys would build all the civilizations, so forth and so on. But you guys don't. And see, that's the problem, right? The power has been taken out of men's hands for some reason, and they have been fed a load of wickedness, right? In order to try to prop up this new rise in female folly, right? Only thing that's going to happen if you try to follow a woman, she's going to lead you straight to the grave, right? Straight to the lake of hell. You can look at all the children and see how they rose, you know what I'm saying, of how they raised up. We see that more than 85% of all people that have gone to prison have come from single mother homes, right? All the mass murderers come from single mother homes, except for 2, I believe, right? This is just what it is. So we must come together as men, and you have to stand up, right? You have to gain your power back, right? You have to be forceful in what you do. You have to stand on too. You can't play with these women. You can't play, especially in a society now that has women believing that they're on the equal playing field as you, when the Most High did not make it that way.
Especially when you have 80% of the black women leading households too. I mean, we're in a very dangerous situation. You know, Isaiah 4:1 is going to come into play. I think I should have believed that we will sooner than later see Isaiah 4:1 come into play. And, you know, but like brother was saying, you know, especially for the brothers, if you're serious about trying to marry someone in the faith, for one, you do not get with a woman who got kids already, because that right there is a no-go. You can't do that, because then you'll be committing adultery, and she will too. You know, and I hate to say it, but it's really American women. 99.9% of American women are hoes. I'm just going to go ahead and throw that. I hate to say it that way, but it's just true. 99.9% of American black women are hoes, and it's hard to really get someone that has not been out there and played the harlot. And even it's getting harder even if you go outside the country, because a lot of black women in Africa, you know, and then it's kind of hard because they're so mixed up with the Hamites, you can't really tell, and they're acting like American women.
Facts.
So it's I can't say that it's going to be a success rate if you fly outside the country and try to find somebody, you know, because so many of women are becoming westernized. It's not even funny. I'm not saying that there's no virgins out there in America, but either they're already spoken for, or they just damn nearly non-existent.
Gone. I want to show something, right? This is I just pulled it up because I saw this the other day. The delusion has to stop somewhere. I don't know what's going on, but you know what's going on right now. They got this dude. He's not a homosexual, right? They got some average white dude, right? Some average white dude. He dresses up as a woman, right? And he goes to this running marathon, and he beats them, right? He don't run. He's not a runner. He don't do any of this stuff, right? And this is the reason why we shouldn't have women in combat. Women shouldn't be in the military. Women shouldn't be police officers or anything with you being in a position of authority or strength is concerned or anything like that, right? It's a bunch of folly. Sure, man, you know, let y'all run against each other and have fun for, you know, activities and physical workout. But as far as being on the same competing stage as men, it's absolutely, you know, a detriment, right, to the well-being. Here.
He could win a race against all women. So today we have Johnny racing in a legit U1 track event. We're testing to see if he can smoke them all in a race, or if they'll make him look like a complete try-hard loser. Hey boys.
Yeah, bro, straight face just like that. You're good to go.
Whose name are you going by? What's your girl name?
Sarah, I'm my sister.
What shorter? I will say that.
Casper Redlands from Claremont at 7.
On your marks.
You can tell he's not running either.
What's that? He's dropping. He's destroying.
Come on now, right?
Yeah,
And the reason
Job,
why I
ladies.
100 meters.
and the reason why I wanted to show that, because that's just, you know, just an average white dude out there, right? They're out there running in races that these women trained, right? Now, these are trained athletes. This is an average dude that don't do nothing but probably eat potato chips, you know, smokes weed, or you know what I'm saying, and just chills and don't do no working out, don't do nothing. And he got in there and then he outran them. This is why, right? You as men need to stand up and you need to protect your daughters, right? Make them understand that the world is not, you know, candy canes, lollipops, and popsicles, right? You have to make them understand that what is really going on out here, or I guarantee you, your daughter will be lost.
You remember that video that went viral, man? It was that it was a police stop. It was a female officer, and this brother, man, and this female officer approached the dude. Man, that dude just hit her one time in the jaw, man. She went down. He just kept pounding her and got in the car and drove off.
Remember that.
Got in the car and drove off, man.
Told his daughter, "Hey, daddy can't go to jail today, sweetheart."
Yep. Got in the car and drove off. But that tells you right there, man, that they cannot handle stuff like that, you know. That's not what they were made for. But yet, this is what this is what man has allowed them to do. That's what I'm saying. Even back in the days, when women weren't fighting in the army, if they were enlisted in the army, it was to be nurses or whatever, or something that was supporting the soldiers. It was never to fight on the battlefield.
God.
Yep. All right, Yasharel. Well, just wanted to bring this out to you all and everything. Gonna let you get back to your holy Shabbat. Pray that you all are edified. And so, with that being said, we're gonna bid you a. Oh, go ahead.
Just one more closing statement, man. Hey, like always, Brother Daniel, myself, and all the other righteous brothers, man, they appreciate the righteous sisters that are repentant and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Please continue to do the works of the Most High and share the law, statutes, and commandments with the younger sisters, right? That might be ignorant, right? And that they might grow up and understand what it truly is to be a woman of the Most High.
And that's it right there. Titus 2:12. You can never go wrong with that one. But unfortunately, most women don't want to follow that one. So it's too feminine. That's too feminism. That's too feminist. Well, it's too womanly. I should put it that way. I don't want that. But anyway, hey Israel. Until next time, by the grace of the Most High, I want to bid you a hearty Shabbat Shalom.
Wait. What? Hold up now. Please marry a strong No. Don't ever marry strong independent woman. I know you joking. You got to be joking.
Is that Rachel?
Yeah.
Is it Rachel?
Yeah. You don't want to marry no strong independent woman, right? You want a woman that wants to depend on a man. You want a wife. You don't want some strong independent woman with her own thoughts that can get on your damn nerves.
You definitely don't want no independent woman. Yeah. If you think she's independent, then she thinks she's independent. Then
hey, Sister Rachel, you need to stop that rage baiting, sister.
Yeah, she was laughing. I think she was just mocking because she knows. Yeah. All right, Yasharel. All right, Yasharel. Well, we're gonna bid y'all a hearty Shabbat Shalom.
Stay strong, Israel. Stay strong.